Hello everyone, I am Tom Douglas, the CEO of JMARK, and here with me is Andy Whaley. I have asked him to join us today because we get a lot of questions about what it's like to work at JMARK. And Andy's been inside the organization for just over a year now, and we just wanted to have a candid conversation about what it's like to be a part of the JMARK team. So Andy, I had been beating up on you for a while to join the JMARK team, and I finally convinced you to come and join, and I had shared with you that we really have a strong foundation around our culture and what it means to be a part of this team. If you wouldn't mind, just share with us what I said, what I did, and then what it was like when you actually came into the organization.
Sure. First of all, before I hit that, it's funny that I've been here for just over a year, but I'm still one of the newbies because the tenure and we have such a low turnover here because everyone loves working here. Yeah. That by default it makes even me like still the newbie. So that's fun to navigate. When we first started talking about me coming here, I had already heard just being in the community about JMARK, mm-hmm. and I had heard about the culture. And you mentioned the culture and how important it is to you. Yeah. And I've worked in a lot of great companies, a lot of big companies before that have been around longer. And I hear the word culture, and I hear people say things and make promises and brag about maybe like a mission statement and how, whatever, it impacts the organization, how culture is a big thing. Mm-hmm. But I've never experienced someone before saying culture is a big thing, then coming into the company and it's actually bigger than how it was announced or sold or talked about in the first place. Mm-hmm. And that was a big deal. When I first started, I told you I wanted to learn from the leadership team and I wanted to get to know everybody. And and so over the first few weeks maybe of coming, I took all the different leadership members out to like lunch or coffee, and I asked one consistent question. We have a lot of rock stars that work here, and we have people that could go, anywhere in the country and work anywhere. We're so fortunate. And I asked every single person, I said, why are you still here? What makes you still want to sit in your seat? What do you love the most about JMARK that keeps you here? Mm-hmm. And so this is like over a dozen conversations. I was blown away that not only the number one answer, but the only answer that I received, every single person said culture. Wow. They can't imagine not being at JMARK because of the culture. And I mean, that was mind blowing. It wasn't like of the answers, it was the top answers. It was the only answer. So culture is obviously a big deal. And we all want to be a part of something significant, right? We want to be a part of something bigger than ourselves, something that we can feel that rewarding feeling at the end of the day, that we're doing something meaningful and are a part of something really cool. Mm-hmm. And we get to experience that here at JMARK. So what you talked about has not only been like met from understanding and feeling and benefiting from the culture, it's actually more, than what you talked about. And pretty cool to meet some amazing people in the beginning of my time here, mm-hmm. and understand that it's the culture and what you, the leadership, and really everybody has invested in to create that makes everyone want to be here.
I think you've nailed it. That at the heart and soul of it is you have a bunch of rock stars who really care about the organization because they want to move the organization in the right direction. They want to serve our clients. They want to make sure that they're doing a good job. And one of my favorite sayings is appreciation is the currency for motivation. And I love the fact that we have so many people in our organization that are just grateful for their coworkers and the work that's done. So it's a lot of fun.
I think real quickly, there are some companies that do really, really well at culture, and they spend a ton of time and energy and finances through HR and doing these employee appreciation things, right? And they get culture really good, but maybe they give up, or not, I shouldn't say give up, but maybe they don't do as well in other areas like performance or what are the outcomes of the business? Are we being profitable? Are we growing? And the fact that we have invested, JMARK has invested in so many areas, and culture is up here, but so is performance, and so is growth. It's quite incredible to be a part of a growing, energetic, dynamic company that still is hitting those marks on culture.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for sharing. I appreciate that. So one of the things that I warned you about when you came into the organization is that we have a tendency to move fast. and this job isn't for everybody because we move fast. There's a lot going on all the time. Talk to us about what that's been like for you.
Yeah, so I would say I'm looking back, I'm thinking through the companies I've been at, and I've been at some great companies where they do move fast, but really nothing's compared to this experience. It was one of those things where it is like a little bit like drinking from a fire hose, right? That phrase of, I'm trying to learn about a new industry, the technology IT space. I'm trying to learn about a new business to be a part of, and the product set and its customer base and things like that. And it's a lot to take on, and even a year into it, still learning, which is great.
Sure.
But it was quite a stretch at first, and it's not for everybody. If you can't lace up the tennis shoes and run, stay at home.
Yeah.
But for those who have the backbone and the drive and that kind of gleam in their eyes, to learn something new and take the hill and accept a challenge, it's so rewarding. So it was a stretch for me.
Yeah.
I've been in the business world for 25 years. I've been doing marketing and sales and other things for 25 years. And it was probably the most stretch I've ever had of coming into a new company. But getting through it and learning fast and adapting and it created such an environment for growth. And I was even thinking earlier today in anticipation of this conversation how blessed I've been to at 25 years in a career, you have seen and done a lot, right? So there's a lot of people that probably aren't learning a whole lot new. They're not maybe growing. I've grown and learned more in the last year than, I don't know, maybe in the last 5 years plus.
Wow.
And so by being a part of this company, by learning to run with the pack, and it was slow at first. I felt like I was at the gym and I'm on a treadmill going 0.5 miles per hour, and the guy next to me is like 8 or 10 miles per hour. And I'm like, I'm getting there.
Yeah.
But once you start to learn to run at that pace, the things that you can learn as an individual and how you can grow professionally and you increase your capacity, it's really rewarding to hang in there, to grow, and to learn a lot of new things. So I'm better now, a year into this, for having learned how to run fast and how to accomplish a lot and still be a part of an amazing company with great people all around us, great culture. Everything about it's rewarding. So it's a challenge, but it's worthy of the challenge.
That's awesome. And core values are a big part of how we operate as an organization. And one of our favorites is fun, obviously. So while we have the challenges and we make sure that we're hiring and we're firing based on the core values, but we're actually living them every day all the way through to fun, which is, I think, what helps to maybe feed back into that energy that you're talking about that allows us to be better and enjoy what we're doing.
Yeah, just real quickly on the core values, that's another one of those things like culture that a lot of companies like to talk about. But if you've ever been in just simply one company where they don't really live up to it or they don't embrace those on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly basis, you start to question anyone that talks about culture. So just like culture, when I came here, it's like, oh, you actually practice what you preach. And I think there's some core values that some are maybe expected and should be there, right? Teamwork, excellence, things like that. I was a little surprised at a couple of them. So fun was one and honesty was one. And it's not that we should not be honest, but the way that people bring about honesty in their conversations and meetings is actually quite refreshing. It's like, we're going to have a meeting. We're going to accomplish some really big things together. No BS. Let's be truth tellers. Let's love the truth. And this is a phrase you say that I am going to use for the rest of my life. Be a lover of the truth and speak with honesty. And you can get to better places faster when you do that the right way. And then fun. We're not taking half a day spending time on a ping pong table, but we just, as a part of the culture, we find ways to bring fun into it, and we can do great work and still have fun at the same time.
If we create an environment where we love what we do and we love who we do it with because we're aligned around the core values, then it is fun. It's fun to win together. It's never fun to lose, but it's better when you're with people that you care about, when you can learn from it and then accelerate and be better as a result. So
exactly.
And that's a really good thing. So when you take a step back and you think about the ideal individual, the ideal personality type, if you will, that's going to thrive at JMARK, what immediately comes to mind?
It's a good question. The type of individual that would thrive here at JMARK is someone who wants to learn, someone who is good with being challenged, someone who loves to work in a team environment. Even though we have remote workers, and even before the pandemic, we had people in multiple states. But even if you're in a hybrid or remote work scenario, there's still that team feel, that team environment. And so someone who likes to work with other people, who's okay to get a different perspective and know that they're not always going to be right, but you can take the greater understanding of the group and get to better places and even grow because of it. So I would say someone who understands how to speak honestly, but also know that respect needs to come with that. Someone who is okay to be humble and not always be the right one every single time. But someone who's okay to lace up the tennis shoes and run really fast. But know that they're going to grow and gain muscle from it. There's a phrase I learned a long time ago at a previous company, but it was just this idea of you can either be green and growing or brown and dying. And so it's the person who is not looking to coast or sunset, It's the person who says, I want to grow, I want to be green and growing, and invest myself in a company that will invest itself in me.
No, that's awesome. I love that. Okay, one final, but maybe a little bit more challenging question.
Okay.
It's not all rainbows and sunshine in any organization. There's hard days, there's hard challenges, there's big problems. And sometimes it's really hard. I mean, you have to make hard decisions when you have a fast-growing company, and we deal with security, and we deal with the challenges and people problems and all those kind of things. What have you learned inside of our organization that you think is maybe unique or special when it comes to hard decisions, hard days? What's different about when we have big problems to solve here versus big problems that you've had to solve in other organizations?
The difference is the people that you're surrounded with. Bad things are going to happen, right? I mean, it doesn't matter what industry you're in, what relationship you're in. You could have bad days with your spouse, and obviously it's paired with the great days. It's how dedicated are you to getting to the other side? How much backbone and drive and willpower do you have to get there? But it's not even on you, right? So being a part of the executive team, I keep thinking, but it's everything. It's our larger leadership team. It's the team that I lead. When you're surrounded by people that you trust, you understand that you're not going to get through life not having bad days. You're going to accomplish pretty big things. But if you're with the right people and you trust them and you go into that place saying, okay, let's roll up our sleeves, let's do this. No one else is going to do it except us, so let's go. And not every conversation is going to be, rosy and cheerful, right? But someone's got to do it, and it really doesn't matter what team you're on or what you do, and it really doesn't even matter what company or industry you're in. It's going to happen. But do you have the resolve, and do you have the understanding of how good it's going to be on the other side? And are you surrounded by the right people, which we are, to rally around together and to get to some great places together? That makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, it does. And I think that's the gift that we can give here at JMARK, is that we've got amazing people all around us.
Well, and we all like to have fun together, right? So we may be at 3 o'clock in a really rough conversation. It's like, whoo, we've got some big decisions to make. What's your perspective on this? Okay, what's yours? How are we going to have the best idea move forward for the best outcome? And then later that day, let's go out for a drink, or hey, let's go hang out at your house, or whatever the case may be. And so we're just surrounded with good people that personally I actually like to be with.
Yeah.
So whether it's a tough meeting, navigating some pretty big decisions, or hanging out on a Friday night, it's really cool.
That's awesome. Okay. Thanks, Andy.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you sharing.
Glad to be here, man.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.